Good afternoon, everybody. Eric Foster, co-founder of the Future Today and Tomorrow Super PAC. This is video number 2 on the 31st of August as we're leading into Labor Day. And this second video that I wanted to bring out today is with respect to Congress, especially with respect to the Senate Democratic Caucus and the House Democratic Caucus. You all have to fully engage as maximal oppositionists to the MAGA regime, starting with first the budget. So, under normal circumstances, yes, would you be working to figure out what the budget would be for this upcoming fiscal year and trying to find compromise and work with the White House as well as the MAGA majority in the House and Senate? Yes, we're not in normal times. And so, because of that, you all have to operate in that framework, which means under no circumstances should you all do anything with regards to helping pass the fiscal year 2026 budget. You already see what's happening with Russ Vought and the MAGA Trump regime, disregarding how you appropriate the money, illegally withholding dollars, redirecting dollars illegally, and rescinding spending that's already been appropriated. I just saw earlier today money for families who are attending college to help with daycare is being held up by Russ Vought and the regime. That's fully anti family and anti American. But as they clearly continue to show, they don't give a damn about families and Americans, especially non MAGA Americans. So you all are in a situation where this can't be like normal. You got to stop worrying about who's going to get blamed for a shutdown and all of that stuff. If they want it, they need to find a way to make it work with their votes alone. Demonstrate that you're not going to co-sign. This is not time to be the grown-ups in the room. The house is on fire. You don't need to get more fire to that house. You need to step aside and let them figure it out. Separately, what I would suggest is that you take all co-sponsorships and things that you're doing where you're trying to pass bills like this was the normal days, co-sponsoring bills with MAGA members, and you stop all that. Pull your sponsorships and pull off of those bills. Because why? We're not in normal times. These folks are firing people from work in federal agencies for their voice. Say you don't agree with a decision of Robert Kennedy Jr. or Kristi Noem or Lee Zeldin, you're fired just for saying you don't agree. Just in the Hill today, an article, Pam Bondi fired a member of the Department of Justice for saying F you to National Guards troops. That's all they did. They just said F you, and she fired him. You can't even voice your own opinion in this regime dictatorship. So why would you support any legislation with the members who are part of the MAGA regime who are supporting this in Congress? And don't go off of the, well, when we're behind the scenes, they talk differently and they tell us how much they don't like this and how they would like to see this differently and how they really want to work with us. And they say these things about us in terms of calling us demons and evil and un-American, pedophiles, whatever. But they're just saying that behind the scenes. They say, I got to say this so I can keep a job. They're not just saying this, and you need to stop fooling yourselves and thinking that they're just saying this. This is what they feel. This is the decision that the hill they've decided to die on. And it's incumbent on you to say, no more, no more, never again. You have to stop the actions and you have to be more visible as opposition to this regime. Nothing you agree to in terms of a budget with Susan Collins is going to stand once money gets to the regime. So stop it. Let it go. Accept that you're not dealing with people like you dealt with in the past. You're dealing with a criminal enterprise running out of the White House, a dictatorship regime with congressional support from the MAGA Republican majority. That's the conditions that you're facing. So you have to change your approach. And in doing that, let them figure out what they're going to do on the budget, pull off of doing any bills with them, introduce Democratic bills. It can still be on the same topic, but don't co sponsor. Bipartisanship is dead. These people are actively cheering the false prosecutions of Congresswoman McIver, of Senator Schiff, the investigations of Attorney General James, Governor Murphy in New Jersey, etc. And you still think you can talk to these people? You still think that, well, you can connect with them and that somehow one of them is going to stand up and stop going along with this? They have decided this is the system of government they want. They are not afraid of Trump and MAGA voters. They are fully on board. Let's think of it another way. Horror movie with zombies. Jim was your friend. Jim got bit by a zombie. Jim is going to be a zombie. You may not want to accept that Jim is going to be a zombie, but Jim is going to be a zombie. That's just the way it is. Jim is gone. You can think reminiscently about what Jim was, but Jim gone. And Jim, if you don't kill Jim, is going to try to eat you or turn you into a zombie. So what do? You got governors like Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker, and you got Congress people like Senator Chris Murphy, and Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. They're getting rid of Jim. They understand Jim is a zombie, and they're not trying to play along and figure out how do we still work with Jim? How do we save Jim? Jim gone. But at the same time, you got folks like Gretchen Whitmer and Chuck Schumer, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who still think, well, I just can't let go of Jim and think that Jim is gone. Jim is a fucking zombie. It's over. Let it go. You have to join the fight in ways that you never thought you had to, but you've got to take a maximalist approach. This is the world we're living in. Do your part, do your job, say no to every fucking thing, and then get on the campaign trail and continue to demonstrate why, and continue doing your hearings separate of them, where you can bring real information, real oversight, your shadow hearings. Keep doing that because that's critical. amp up the awareness of those, pump it out more. But you got to take extreme actions against what's taking place. It's not comfortable, but you know, your friends, MAGA Mike Johnson, he's a zombie. Jim Jordan, he's a zombie. Elise Stefanik, she's a zombie. John Thune, he's a zombie. They zombies. What you gonna do? You gonna keep thinking that you can, that it won't be that bad, or deal with the zombie threat that it is. If you want to help us at the Future Today and Tomorrow Super PAC to be able to advertise, to help encourage Chuck Schumer and other Democrats to find their spine and to stand up the way they need to, please visit www.futurepac.today, click the donate button, and contribute so we can get up on the air with ads and other communications to let people know, and the folks that are representing us, that they need to accept a new battle plan, a new strategy to fight for America. And understand, Jim gone. Jim ain't coming back. Jim's a zombie. Thoughts and prayers to Jim. Get rid of Jim and keep it fucking moving. Thank you. Once again, Eric Foster, visit www.futurepac.today. Click the donate page. Help us to communicate to both the non-MAGA majority and to non-MAGA elected officials. Thank you.